Doing well. How are you today?
I am pretty good. I just told you that I've been hunting down a LiveStore DevTools bug that's been plaguing mostly users since I haven't for whatever reason I don't get this bug much, but other
Mm,
users do. So after now 8 days, I've figured out how to reproduce it since it seems to be mostly hardware kind of specific how the concurrency behaves. But yeah, I'm like seeing light at the end of the tunnel, and meanwhile
oh
I've
man.
improved a lot of things. But yeah, the I've mentioned to a few folks that building the LiveStore DevTools was possibly one of the hardest things to build about LiveStore in general. But that's a long-winded way to say I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
It sounds like you've been deep in the bowels of the computer for days now. Let's see if you can remember how to like talk to
Yeah.
humans.
And shout out to a bunch of people who helped me
Mm.
making progress on those fronts. Turns out that there were actually like multiple bugs, and but yeah, but let's
As is the case.
yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
Well, yeah, I'm doing well. I've been since we talked 2 weeks ago, and we're digging into this live store app that I've been building. I did an actual live store event migration over the last 2 weeks, which was pretty cool,
Nice.
where I, added some additional fields to an event. So I had to create a new version of an event and then made sure that the materializers are handling both the older version and the new version and writing to a new table. So I knew that that was coming, hadn't done the dance yet, and it successfully ran. It was very exciting to open like old instances and see like the new data, the new events and the old event, or the old events and the new events being processed properly and the
Oh,
UI
that
working and not breaking the database. That was like,
that that is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think there is quite a bit of work still to be done in on the live store side over a longer time period to just make kind of migrations easier. Yesterday, I helped Kyle on a similar matter where
mhm,
we looked at his like Cloudflare deployment and like when you're upgrading a live store version. There's like some things he needs to do manually right now, and in the future, I want to automate that more. But yeah, that's exciting times ahead for automating this. And for now, I want to make sure that I can at least support community members like yourself,
yep,
having a good time doing so. And I think that already gets us like on topic for
hmm
what we want to do today. So for those who have been like listening the last time, I think we covered quite a bit of ground on work squared.
hmm
But for those who haven't, do you want to do a quick recap on like what we've been up to
sure,
last time and what Work Squared is about and what the plan is for today?
yep, that'd be great. All right, cool. So, yeah, Work Squared is a an agent embedded environment, and I chose LiveStore specifically to be the backing like data layer for this agent human agent collaboration environment because I think there's this really cool parallelism where if you have events in LiveStore that do anything in the UI, like you show an example real quick. Um, if you're doing anything in the user interface, like creating a project, creating a task, that kind of thing, creating cards, new card, um, you can all of these events and all of these queries are also available to the UI as tools. And so it can go and create cards, it can update cards, and because that is what's also powering the UI as the agent is doing things in the environment, the UI is dynamically updating, like just as a consequence of the way that React plus LiveStore works. So it's really quite delightful, and it's been really fun to work on it as a sort of the data layer. So that's a little bit about Work Squared. You can find out more about it at worksquared.ai, and it is source available. So I said this last time, but I've been doing almost all of my development has been very Claude code and asynchronous software engineering agent focused. So you can find a lot of examples of kind of working with um, async software engineering agents through the like closed PRs on Work Squared. If that working with AI to build software is your thing, there's a cool working example here for like a real app. But that brings us to
Awesome.
today. What do we want to work on today? Well, I last time we met, we made a little markdown document and we ended up just picking off the top thing. So we worked on mostly storybook tests last time with LiveStore, being able to, and we talked a little bit about how tests themselves are a really important
Yep.
infrastructure for coding agents. They need to be able to verify that things are working when it make changes. So I finished. Thank you for the help on that. I finished getting that rolled out across all of my storybook tests over the last couple weeks, and agents have been able to write LiveStore embedded tests, which is pretty neat.
Yay. That's awesome.
So today we have a couple of things that we can choose from. We discussed last time about the fact that my coding agents had not been following LiveStore best practices in terms of making all the commit calls synchronous, and had been adding all these asyncs in front of a lot of the commit calls, kind of unnecessary. I have not yet added the linting warning for async commit calls, and then have Claude Code clean things up. I don't think that's probably worth spending time on. We talked about it last time. If you want to like watch the YouTube from last time if you want to hear us talk about it. And the same thing with this add an ESLint rule to drop as any casts. This is just general sort of code cleanliness for TypeScript code bases when you're working with Claude Code. So I'm looking at these bottom three things and thinking about them. I think the application initialization one is probably the only one small enough to fit within the time that we have. But we could discuss side effects and once and only once execution. We could also discuss what it might look like to transition from using the Node LiveStore adapter to the new Cloudflare worker setup that's going to ship in 0.4.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be actually pretty keen on giving the last one a try, given
Sure.
that the dev release already has good support for that, and I think it should be in a good enough state that you could roll over to that if you wanted to. And we just need to see like how would we go about testing that, like that
Mm-hmm.
you like we need like an isolated environment that
Right.
assuming this is where like some sort of side effecty things are happening, we want to avoid
Right.
like us publishing a version to Cloudflare and suddenly hundreds of users are getting an email or something. So we want to make
Exactly.
sure that we have that sort of like in a more self-contained, isolated environment. But assuming, and I think I would probably also do that by setting up a new environment, pulling in a little bit of business logic from what you had before,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of getting to a hello world ish
Yeah.
setup there and getting that deployed. I think that could be certainly doable,
Cool.
and I think
Well,
it
it's
would
a
be fun.
it's a pretty important one for me, and it also, yeah, because the business logic of the server side is one of the more like valuable and complex parts of the application. A lot of the front end is kind of vanilla TypeScript and React stuff, which isn't particularly complicated. TypeScript makes it really nice. I mean, LiveStore makes it really nice. But yeah, this part is the part that I think is interesting. So yeah, we could spend some time there. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
let's give that a try. I mean, I would start out by just like showing you the example that is in the
Mhm.
LiveStore repo, just for to help you build an intuition for that, and
Yeah,
then we
we should
can
probably
try
also
to
talk
yeah
about the needs of the server on the work squared side of things,
yeah
and then kind of make an assessment of what, if anything, if not everything, is a good fit
yeah.
Cloudflare
For sure.
for the migration.
Have you
Mhm.
used Cloud? So when we're saying Cloudflare specifically, we're interested here in using Cloudflare durable objects, which are kind of like teeny tiny little server things that are
Right.
actually give you the best of both worlds of being serverless yet stateful in ways that matter.
Hmm.
Where I think you're currently running things on a long running single node server. I
That's right.
remember running on
Yep.
render.
Hmm.
And it's not like that you need that server up like all the time. There's still like some event orientation of like when you want something to happen, right? Like you have basically
Right.
like a new message coming in or something getting updated, maybe a cron job running. This is where like you want the thing to wake up. But
Yep.
besides that, like it's not important that it keeps running.
Not at all.
And I think this is where durable objects really shine,
Hmm.
and or we can see how far we get today.
Yeah. So there's two things that I think so you mentioned correctly that we have this like back-end server that, and the way to think about the server is you can almost think about it as like representing the agent in the system.
Right.
Um, uh, it does a couple of things. One, it watches for specific kinds of events to come in. In the case of our of Work Squared, it's watching for these chat events to come in, and
Yep.
that's then needing to respond to those. So that's, like you mentioned, very event based and not something you need to be up all the time for. Like, watch for this event, and when this event comes, start a new process. The other things that does is potentially respond to cron jobs. So we have
Right.
a recurring tasks uh, capability in the app that is basically cron, but giving it a front end where a user can say, I want this to happen every day at 8 a.m. or whatever.
That makes sense.
The agent also wakes up for those if it's assigned, right? Tasks can be assigned to anyone in the system. I could assign one to you, Johannes, and say, I'd like you to do it every morning at 8 a.m. But that would just, you're not going to wake up and do it every morning at 8 a.m., but an agent will. So that would be that sort of periodic wake period where it needs to wake
Yep.
up. And then the third thing, which is the one that I think is potentially problematic, but I don't know, and we talked a little bit about this a few weeks ago, is that the agentic loop itself that gets kicked off when the agent responds to a message or whatever can be quite long, right? So it can be certainly minutes, sometimes tens of minutes, if it's a particularly complex thing. So what does that agent loop look like? Well, maybe the agent loop can also be something that we use Cloudflare workers to sort of statelessly handle,
Right.
where an LLM call goes off to the service, comes back from the service, and then a function, executes, and maybe then the worker goes to sleep, and then maybe when the function completes, another worker wakes back up, receives, I don't know. So like we'll have to think about how this agentic loop works, I think is an important one. And then the final
Totally.
piece of that, the final like nuance there is that over the last 2 weeks, I've been assessing using Claude Code's agent SDK as the agentic loop. And it turns out that what the agent SDK is actually doing is just wrapping an instance of the Claude Code CLI inside the node process.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that might be
So
problematic.
a few things here. So everything you've mentioned so far, I think, should work well.
Okay.
Um, there are a few caveats. So one thing is when you said like those things can run for like minutes, etc., etc. Um, the way how durable objects work is that you're rather thinking in terms of seconds. However,
Mm-hmm.
it is like how many? It's rather so many seconds that you really are CPU bound until you do a certain thing, until you do like another HTTP request, or
Mm-hmm.
like you basically need to break up your program again into like more event-ish things.
Mm-hmm.
And in that regard, like waiting for like some IO event, like that you do like an HTTP request, etc., that is like your CPU is no longer busy at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know that like Cloudflare is heavily advertising and like targeting those use cases.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that should work, definitely work. But I've also haven't used it heavily for those like more long running, still like IO oriented workflows. But that's certainly what they're targeting. So I think we can experiment with that. The other point
Cool.
is that DOs are not Node. They have some Node compatibility,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't, to my knowledge, easily shell out to like sub processes, etc. So
Yeah.
I think this is what we also would need to now think through. If you're
Mm-hmm.
essentially shelling out to Claude Code or something like that in the in your Node server, we would need to think through like, hey, how would we do that on a durable object?
Right.
Uh, at this point, like that's kind of LiveStore independent now, but still relevant for your architectural decision here.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that being said, I think we can still already prototype the like um, the acting as the agent. Like we can
Hmm.
basically for now have the O client like understand like, hey, there was like a chat message coming in,
Hmm.
and I should do something about it. And I think the initial, yeah, you're already checking out the agent SDK, etc.
Hmm.
Like we should give that a try and see whether it works on durable objects or not. I would see no reason why it wouldn't, because
Hmm.
fundamentally, Cloud Code is all like as a CLI is also like it doesn't ship a big model locally. It only interacts with HTTP APIs,
Hmm.
where the internet brain is doing the heavy lifting.
Hmm.
And so here we would basically just use the SDK. So I'm pretty sure that we would get to a hello world here.
Okay.
And then you can go beyond that. But we would need to see how does that work in regards
Hmm.
to Cloudflare's. I believe they have like I think a 30-second or 30-second upper
Something
limit
like
for
30 to
continuous
60 seconds or
execution.
something like that. Yeah.
And at that point, we basically need to see how do we break that up. But we
Yeah.
can like take one step at a time.
Yep.
And there's a William from the chat has also suggested to use durable objects. That's exactly what we're looking into. And
Hmm.
William said use DOs also as queues to queue your tasks. For the agent loop, you can use workflows to withstand long. Okay, so this would be, I think, another great mechanism to look into. I haven't used workflows myself yet, but
Hmm.
Cloudflare Workers has a workflows primitive, which I
Hmm.
think could work really well for that, which we could also look into. So I suggest we maybe as like a expectation setting. I don't think it's realistic within this hour to like later turn off your render server and everything is like happily
Right.
already running on Cloudflare. But I think we'll
Yeah,
take the first steps in that direction and understand like, hey, what are the bigger things that we still need to that we need to figure out.
I like it. Yeah, and there's other things that in fact one way to do this I love what you said about take a little bit of your business logic that you have and move it over to this other service where we're using that adapter for it. So one thing we could do right now is handle things like sending Discord messages. So there's certain things that the system does that sends a Discord message. We could move that to this search and leave the agentic loop alone and say tackle the agentic loop later because like you mentioned that's sort of a separate problem, and there's other things that we would want to be able to do using the Cloudflare setup as well, like sending emails, and there's other like
Yep.
once and only once execution type stuff. So
Exactly. So, just important to understand, there are like LiveStore now ships two Cloudflare primitives.
mm-hmm,
There is like LiveStore is very pluggable, and the dimensions how it's pluggable, it is pluggable in terms of the platform adapter. Like, are you running this on iOS? Are you running this in the web? Are you running this like on a server? Or now also possible, are you running this on a Cloudflare durable object? So this is an adapter,
here
and
we
this
go,
is where
there we
we are
go.
basically looking at LiveStore as a client, as
Mm-hmm,
opposed to a pluggable sync provider, where
mm-hmm,
the sync provider is where do you want your like sync backend to live, and those can be like very independent, right? Like you can have a sync backend that syncs to Electric SQL, a sync backend that syncs to like Cloudflare. We have a new one now for like S2 event streams.
mm-hmm,
Um, so you can also mix and match that depending on like if you have a lot of events, maybe you like the trade-offs of one more than the other.
mm-hmm.
But here we got now gonna like use both. So I think you're already using the Cloudflare sync backend. But now,
Correct. Yep.
additionally, we're also going to use the Cloudflare client adapter,
Yep.
which runs which runs our LiveStore client on the durable object.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what we now gonna additionally do. So you're already looking at the docs here,
Mm-hmm.
and
Would you like me to pull
there's
up one of the
all.
examples instead, or is this a good place to start?
Yeah, we can look at one of the examples, but just to yeah, maybe looking at an example might be slightly easier. So if you open the
Mm-hmm.
repo,
Mm-hmm.
great, and if you go to examples, and for example here, CF chat.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a little chat app, and the if you open the go up once again, just looking at sort
Mm-hmm.
of the Wrangler TOML file.
Mm-hmm.
That's always our Cloudflare entry point. And so you see here in line 2, this is the entry point where we're saying CF
Mm-hmm.
worker index TS. So this will be our entry point, and this is where we're exporting all of the primitives that Cloudflare needs. Specifically here, we are exporting the Cloudflare worker, which is like the little HTTP router, basically, that
Mm-hmm.
where all the API, this is the API endpoint, where like whenever your client-side app wants to talk to like a Cloudflare backendy thing, it
Mm-hmm.
goes to that, and that then routes it around. So an HTTP like a
Oh,
request could basically
is it
be
both?
either a
Is it?
request for the sync backend, or
Ah,
it could be
okay.
a request that wants to talk directly to the client DO itself. And so that's what
Hmm.
we're gonna look at now, how that looks like. And
Interesting.
then there's basically two durable objects in this particular setup. One is for the sync backend, and that basically just where we're pushing and pulling events from and to.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the new one, which actually runs the LiveStore client on the server that fulfills now the purpose of where you had your render server before.
Johannes, question for you. Um, with the Cloudflare adapter running on the worker, I assume the way that I've always thought of it is the sync server is kind of you've got this consistent WebSocket connection between the Cloudflare client on the web or the Cloudflare client on a node server. And over that WebSocket connection, I'm receiving messages from the sync server about events that are happening. Then I
Right.
do the normal event
Yes.
update loop, right? We can't do that in this world, right? Like the Cloudflare worker does not have a consistent WebSocket connection to the sync server. So what's the networking mechanism that like
So maybe we
tells?
want to quickly pull out like a TL draw, just
Yep.
to briefly sketch that out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yes, let's create a new
I
one.
will send you a link in just a second here. Where did you
I
sign
guess you
in?
gotta sign in.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
All right,
Cool.
sweet.
Send me a link here. Share. Copy.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we basically have like our client here. So let's be
Mm-hmm.
clear. Like this is like the user client,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and
And that could be a web app, that could be a mobile app, that could be
exactly,
something running on a server or whatever. But it's the thing that
exactly,
gets the events and then does something meaningful with them, turning them into like
exactly.
a SQLite database, basically.
Exactly. And so here now we have like this is like the uh, CF worker.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are, one second. So this one is like always initially talking to the Cloudflare worker. This
Mm-hmm.
Cloudflare worker code itself does like very little. So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
a very simple handler. And so
Mm-hmm.
this one then either delegates here
Mm-hmm.
to uh, the sync backend, So and so the way how this does it is
Hmm.
I gonna make this one dashed
Hmm.
because after this is just like for in this case it's just for like an initial
Oh,
handshake, and
okay.
so this one is then like creating
A
the
WebSocket
WebSocket
connection.
connection.
Gotcha. So
And
this is like a
so
router almost? Like,
yes, exactly.
okay.
But like in this router, you can also do like your like authentication handling, etc. Or like you could do
Mm-hmm.
like some initial rate limiting or like whatever business logic you want. Um, and so then the other thing is here we now have the uh, I'll just call it like the DO client now.
Mm-hmm.
And so there can be also like two mechanisms how we could deal with this. So let's say for our in our like UI experience here, we
Mm-hmm.
want to like talk to this thing directly. Like we could do that by exposing like some HTTP API here that gets proxied.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but more realistically, I think what we want is to have be connected here. So this DO client be
Oh,
connected to the sync backend. And so the
because
this is
in
where
the
your
sync
question now
backend, we
comes.
have like event one, event two, event three. Like those are all here in this sync backend. So you're
Exactly.
saying if the DO client can read this thing directly, then done. Like there's no networking needed. It already has the events because they've already been transferred to this
So,
event
sort
backend,
of.
sync backend.
Like what we would want is like the what LiveStore gives you
Hmm.
is here in this in our UI in the front end
Hmm.
we have like our database, right?
Yep.
And so what we want is having this database here as well.
Yes.
And we need to we basically here we have a LiveStore instance and we also want here a LiveStore instance.
Hmm.
And so this is basically like how is this kept up to date? It's kind of like an
Hmm.
implementation detail. You could use WebSockets for this, but this is not very efficient. And so what we're doing instead is use the DO RPC for that.
Mm.
And so the DO RPC basically allows you to have the DO client, like it basically initially does an initial pull, and
Hmm.
then it gives the sync backend a callback handler where whenever the sync backend gets a new thing, it kind of like automatically also sends it to the DO
Mm.
client. And that's how
Hmm.
the reactivity works without the DO client having to be awake all the time.
Very cool. Interesting. So then the arrow direction is this way in the
Well,
sense that,
it's sort of like in both direction because like it
oh,
does
that's
an
true.
initial pull. It
But
can
then it
also
could
like
send
push. So I've
events. Yeah.
intentionally like left it undirectional.
Yep. That makes sense. But it's kind of it's the sync backend when a new event comes in that's coming from the user client, for example,
Or from
then
anywhere,
that's
really. Yeah.
anywhere. A new event that's well, I wanted to say not from here, right? A new event that's not from the DO client, then what's
Yes.
happened? It gets to the sync backend through a variety of different networking mechanisms.
Yep.
But if it's coming from React App, it's going through WebSockets most likely.
Yep.
And then it gets pushed to the sync backend, takes responsibility for pushing it to the DO client.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, cool. Via
So
the
yeah,
RPC.
that
Okay, that's helpful.
it
Thank you.
basically just pokes the DO client and that the DO client is like is kept up to date.
Cool.
So the internals you don't have to be aware of. It's
Hmm.
just helpful to be aware of like that there are those different boxes.
Yeah,
And we're gonna now look at the corresponding code for that. So
cool.
if you go to that that main file here,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe helpful if you expand the sidebar in the GitHub UI.
Yep.
There you go. So here, this is that's just the entry point, and you can
Hmm.
see here in line 4, we're exporting the default export from the worker. So it's
Hmm.
gonna take a look at that. Again, that's our like little router box. This, as
Hmm.
you can see, it's very unspectacular. We can here basically see like, hey, there's a request. Is the request a sync request? If so,
Mhm.
let the sync backend handle that sync request, and we're done. If then we're checking, like, hey, do we so here we're basically checking, like, hey, is the URL name, does this want to talk to the client? We can handle this whatever we want. Like we could call this like internal API version 1 or whatever. Like this is completely up to us. We're
Mhm.
basically just using this as a indicator for like what to do with it now. And in this
Mhm.
case, we're gonna now route this request to the client DO. And this
Mhm.
client DO, I think in this case we're mostly using this for like debugging purposes. But
Mhm.
yeah, this is where, or here's called the O client, but you get
Mhm.
the idea. Yeah, thanks for putting this next to each other.
Mhm.
And so if we're going to take a quick look at the sync backend
Mhm.
and at the DO client, this is
Yeah.
going to be hopefully more clear. So this one is very simple because this is like LiveStore handles that for you.
Yeah.
And so you can implement like some callback function here for like on push, on pull, etc. You can also configure the storage for this. Like by
Mhm.
default, sync messages here are now stored in the SQLite database embedded in the DO,
Mhm.
but you can also store them in S3. Note those are two different kinds of databases. One is like the SQLite database for your app, and the other is like almost like a file system. So
Hmm.
there, it's just like the implementation detail. But now we're gonna
Sure.
look at this LiveStore client DO. That's the exciting
Mhm.
part now for your app.
Mhm.
And this is
So
also
this is the
where
new thing,
we,
right?
yeah,
Because like technically
exactly.
everything else exists in my current app.
You already have that. Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Mhm.
So yeah, now we basically most things in LiveStore workers are kind of like request based and like
Mhm.
typically also HTTP request based. So it's no different for a durable object as well. Like here we also have the fetch method. So here it's like a
Mhm.
class, and here we have this fetch method. And this fetch method is one of multiple entry points. But that's the one that we've been looking at so far, where if the user client um, wants to talk to the DO client directly,
Mhm.
it could send an HTTP request to the worker, which then forwards it to the DO client, and then we
Mhm.
get that request here. And here we are, for example, using this by to only return, like for I've used this for debugging purposes. That I have like a little endpoint you can see here in line 32, where I say if it ends with db, then give me actually the full SQLite snapshot of that database, which is very handy. That if
Mm.
you basically want to figure out like, hey, for this store ID, what is my database state currently? You can get a SQLite snapshot.
Very cool. Okay.
Exactly. And the lines above should feel like very familiar. So this is
Mhm.
basically the exact same. Uh, there you go. Yeah. But this is completely up to you
Mhm.
what you want to do here.
Right.
And so in the code, you see the lines above is the same
Mhm.
LiveStore API that you just used to.
Yeah.
So this means you can query
Give me the
something.
messages. Yeah.
You can also do commits here, and so it's just LiveStore.
Mhm.
And the interesting part might be then the get store and subscribe to
Mhm.
store. So
Mhm.
get store is basically uh, that is the equivalent to we basically do a little bit of like caching, like, hey, have we opened this before, then use that. Otherwise we're like lazy creating the store.
Mhm.
And so this is basically the equivalent to your React API, where you have like a LiveStore provider. Um, and so that's what it's doing here. We're
Okay.
just gonna give it a little bit of like Cloudflare specific stuff. And
Mhm.
so, for example, the durable object of itself that the sync backend can like reference it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then the live poll is basically do we want the reactivity or not? Like you could also imagine a scenario where you wouldn't want that,
Yeah,
where you have like a
absolutely.
one-off kind of thing. So you can also do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or
then
you
in
can
the
control the cadence at which you pull instead of live pulling. Um,
yeah, I mean, then you would basically just do it like eagerly yourself.
exactly. Yeah.
And then in the subscribe to store below, this is
Mm-hmm.
like in our scenario. So we're building like this little chat app here.
Mm-hmm.
We could actually, if you wanted to, if you, I can just send you a little link
Oh
to
yeah.
that particular app to just let's see whether I'll get myself in trouble here. So
Live demos. Here we go.
there we go. Indeed. I just need to manage to copy the link with my new keyboard. So let's see how this works here. So I'm not sure whether you got sort of like the
Ding.
yes, I've imitated sort of like a little iMessagey behavior here. And what you see here in those exactly, and so you see like those reactions here,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
robot reaction. This is what we're doing, what we're simulating with our durable object, the client durable object right now. Uh, exactly, exactly. well, we'll be there in 20 minutes.
Exactly.
So, so now we can understand like how does the logic work that we're getting this robot reaction.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking at the source code for that, this is exactly
Mm-hmm.
what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So um, in this setup right now, just like sort of logically, there could be two ways what we're listening for. Either we
Mm-hmm.
could be listening for the events directly. Here
Mm-hmm.
we're listening for uh, query changes. So the listening for
Mm-hmm.
events directly will be possible in the future. It's not yet fully available, but that's coming. But in
Very
this
cool.
setup here, we're basically listening to a database query. So here we're basically just listening to all messages.
Right.
Um, and then we like are basically just keeping track of like, hey, which like very like naive here, but like we're basically just checking like, hey, which messages has the DO client not yet reacted to,
Mm-hmm.
and then it iterates over those and does the robot reaction.
Gotcha. And so it's relying on the store itself to know, the LiveStore to know that a message has already been reacted to so that
Yes,
it doesn't. Yeah, gotcha. So if we ran two instances of this LiveStore client at the same time, there would be race conditions where we might get two
there
reactions.
would, but the that's like the beauty of like Cloudflare durable objects,
Hmm.
that like there is exactly one durable object for a given identifier, and
That's
they make
cool.
sure there is not more than one, and that like the identity is sort of like preserved.
Wow, that's nice of them. And I say that as like my solution for this also was make sure there's only one render server. If there's
Right. I
only
mean
one, then we don't have
the
race conditions.
the difference
Uh,
is like you're gonna have like whatever millions of like individual durable
yeah,
objects, but for a given identifier you only have one, and that's
no,
a
it's cool.
very nice scaling characteristic.
It is, yeah, it's very, very nice and very difficult to maintain. And even in my simple example with like only having one render server, it's not technically true that there's only one render server, especially during deploys.
Exactly, yeah, it's like
When there's a
either you have
deploy, the new
downtime
version
or
is
yeah,
being
exactly,
spin up,
yeah.
and so what do you do there?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so for a brief moment in time, there are two, and then one goes away.
Right.
And
And
yeah.
this is the way how it works with like
Hmm.
LiveStore with Cloudflare
Hmm.
is that everything being like very event oriented,
Hmm.
and Cloudflare is kind of like handling those events for you. So I haven't done like a very in depth analysis yet on like how exactly things work during a deploy, but what I would imagine is that events are basically briefly queued up, that the like let the current
Right.
system drain, and then switch over to the new one, and
Yeah.
so you won't have two systems at the same
Yeah.
time. That is, I mean,
You
that
effectively have to have that routing layer, right? Where you say like we're pointing everything there, and then now the new thing's up. Now we're pointing everything there. And that's what
exactly.
I don't have in my render world, right? It's like, yeah.
There might still be sort of like tricky scenarios that we need to
Hmm.
look at, but given that everything is very event oriented, should make this a lot easier. So
Absolutely.
my suggestion
Okay.
would be the code that you have seen here now on the left. We're gonna
Hmm.
bring now a version of that into your
Hmm.
app and
Makes
see
sense.
whether we can deploy it. And like I think maybe similarly with the database, like the
Hmm.
slash db endpoint, where you can basically just get a snapshot from the server.
Hmm.
I think that would be kind of cool already.
Yeah, that would be.
So yeah,
Cool.
maybe you just want to copy that file and
The
see how
toml
far we
file at the
get.
top level.
Yeah.
Wait, did I?
And are
There
you
it is,
already
framework.
on
Mhm.
the zero point 0.4 version
I'm on
with
zero
your
point
app?
0.4, I think 0.49,
Okay,
zero
that
09.
should be fine.
Like
Yeah.
not, I saw you're up at 12 now.
Yeah.
Packages, JSON. Uh, oh, actually, it would be in the individual packages. Yeah. JSON server. What version am I on? Oh no, I did specify it in the top level catalog file,
Sweet.
PNSP workspace. Yeah, here we go. Dev 8. So
Very cool.
hopefully that'll work.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so we already have the syncCF package. That's all we need.
Hmm.
So we would basically just wherever you have your Cloudflare um,
Well, I
entry
have.
point.
Oh, you're right. I don't want to add a new package. I actually want to use. I guess it's going to be not auth worker. It's going to be Node Web Sync. I, no, 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 no.
You
Worker.
know your
There it is.
packet, your structure best.
Yeah, it's
So
worker.
okay, cool.
I'm not
Yeah,
using
in
toml,
here.
but yeah, here we go.
So we just gotta be careful that like when you're deploying now, like ideally you change in your Cloudflare worker here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Maybe you change the name already up there, so that we're not touching the real
Should I just
environment.
deploy it? Well, I can't deploy another worker because we want to have only one copy of the sync worker going.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
why I'm saying like just let's create a new one.
yeah,
So like add like another like slash experiment or something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Cool.
Okay, perfect. So another thing we can do in the meanwhile is switch away from, yeah. If we're maybe we can make the
Convert this to
cursor
toml.
full screen and like have two tabs there.
Yep.
And so if we're gonna look at the worker, like the underscore worker file, cool. So in here, we now have this is
Do I not
unused.
have? That's weird. Let me make sure I've got most recent stuff installed here.
What is it complaining about?
It's complaining about types here, and most likely it's in pnpm installs not run.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. We're good now.
Okay, sweet. So
Hmm.
if you go to line 27 and check for
Hmm.
what you have available here, there should be, so if you trigger autocomplete, there should be like
Um,
storage, for example.
Oops. We had this problem before. I don't remember how to trigger autocomplete because I don't ever use it
uh,
anymore.
nah, I think
Maybe
you just got to spell it out. Um,
it'd be on what?
I think
There we
it's
go. There we go.
storage.
Yeah. Oh, storage. Okay, gotcha.
Is there something like that available?
I don't think so.
Okay, so this would come in like one of the new versions you haven't updated yet. You don't need
Oh,
it.
okay.
I just
Okay.
wanted to like spell it out that currently you can see on the in your Wrangler JSON file, we
Mm-hmm.
have the D1 database that we're
Mm-hmm.
using for the events.
Mm-hmm.
In the newer versions, we're basically using the durable object SQLite directly, and so you can optionally still use
Mm.
the D1. I would recommend that just because you get better latency. So you can basically just comment this out for now,
Okay.
and this should work. Um, then in terms, so we got to make one slight adjustment. If you go to the LiveStore examples,
Mm-hmm.
and in the Wrangler file here, you see there's like you already have it open. So there is migrations that says new SQLite classes. Oh, sorry, no, that's the wrong one. It's under durable objects. We want, uh, let me see.
Oh, it's this one. We
Yeah,
talked
do,
about
do
this
we
one
have
before.
that?
Yeah, I think I already did it.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
rename.
Yeah,
Here it
okay.
is, right
I
here.
think then you're good. Basically, this is like tells Cloudflare to say like, hey, we want the new good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, great. I think then we're pretty good. But we're gonna extend this now, the durable objects, to
Mm-hmm.
also bring in our client durable object. So
Mm-hmm.
just in that array here, just add a new one. So
A new binding.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna call that now like, well, you find a nice name, could be client do or something, but um,
It's
you can
fine.
change it later. So class
Okay.
name, okay, and then also under migrations, so
Mm-hmm.
call it client do, or we,
Okay.
we can figure it out later, and then on the migrations, add here new classes added there as well in
Under
line
tag V2.
37. Like basically in
Oh, okay.
those two. Uh,
Got it. Okay.
yeah, cool. And I think that given that we, for now, it's gonna be like a new environment, so we can the renamed classes, we can
Yeah.
comment out for now. This is you're gonna need that later
Mm.
for
Right.
your like proper thing.
To go.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I think with that you should be able to let's basically do the following.
Mm-hmm.
Let's create like a super simple client do, or like a
Mm-hmm.
super simple do just to get it deployed, and then
Mm-hmm.
afterwards we make it functional. So go back to your GitHub
Mm-hmm.
example, and then so do the client LiveStore client do.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So just copy line 10. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On the left, basically, we're just gonna add that somewhere under the other class. I think like just in line 30 or so. Cool. Just add that. You can get rid of the. Ooh,
Oof.
you can get rid of the implements. We're gonna do that shortly.
Okay.
The implements clause. Just get rid of that. And so okay, the durable object we're gonna import. Yeah, we're gonna do. What are we?
Let me grab the import real quick.
Yeah, this one. And then we're gonna just follow the TypeScript nudging. Okay, you're gonna do one thing, go to the tsconfig,
Mm-hmm.
and there add like in types where you have the Vite thing, also add like in line 5, add
Mm-hmm.
add Cloudflare, and then worker dash types.
Cloudflare slash worker
No, worker
dash
dash
types.
types, but
Uh-huh.
add Cloudflare.
Ah, yeah, got it.
Okay, so let's see whether that fixes it. Have you installed the
Uh,
package?
I was gonna say I may not have installed that package because I don't know that I need
Uh,
that directly
yeah, please,
here.
please add it.
Yep. Not catalog though. because it won't be in the top level catalog.
I guess you can just do like a star for now and like it's gonna. Okay, so
All right.
install it.
Hmm. Worker types not found. Are you sure that's the right
Uh,
worker
can
type?
you go to the package JSON?
Mm-hmm. Worker class
Workers,
types. Ah,
plural.
of course, of course.
And same in the tsconfig afterwards.
Sure. I was telling my son about programming that you spend a lot of time looking for one character changes. You have to be a certain kind of sadist to be a software engineer when one
Okay,
character can make all the difference.
sweet.
All right.
So I think with that, we should be good to dare a Wrangler deploy.
All right, let's give it a try. Here we go. I think CD packages worker, and do I have direct access to Wrangler here?
If
I
you
don't.
don't, I typically use bunx.
But I'm using PNPM.
That's fine.
All
It's
right,
like it doesn't. Well, it's up to you. Sweet.
there we go.
Okay, and deploy. So
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. Okay. Uh, okay.
Client DL.
Client DO. So what have we named the class?
What did we name the class? Let's see.
Oh yeah,
LiveStore client DL.
we should align the naming. You can now
Yeah,
pick a name, but
yeah. Client DL is fine.
okay, cool. Then try again.
All right.
Okay, what do we have now?
That new class
WebSocket server.
migration.
Oh, it's called sync backend DO. So we gotta adjust the Wrangler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so sync backend DO.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And with a
Now
capital E. Okay, good.
maybe
We're
third
good.
time is the charm. Let's see. Okay, promising.
Hey, hey.
Okay. Alrighty. So we
Sweet.
have a URL. Let's see what happens. Not found. This is let's see whether that matches our expectations. If we're going down to the worker, to the fetch further down, wherever we're doing
There we go.
So
Not found.
I guess yeah. So
Maybe.
now let's try to like hello world the durable object. So let's say in here we just basically do add another if and we
Mhm.
say if request path name ends or
Mhm.
includes.
Hello.
Yeah, I think you gotta parse the URL into a yeah, I guess you can do that as well. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it
Oh,
works,
I'm like,
AI.
wait. No.
What we gotta do is we
Mhm.
need to use the env from the
Mm.
so we're not instantiating it, even though that's tempting, but we gotta use the env which we're getting from the fetch function.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna say env dot, and then we're gonna use our binding name. This is like the thing we have in line 29 on the
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
So we say
And this is what's going to give us the URL ending?
no, that's gonna give us a so-called stub, basically a thing that has a fetch function for the durable object. So this is yeah, we basically need to let's see. Can you check where the env is coming from? What is the
Yeah.
type of that?
Mhm.
Okay, can you click on that?
Mhm.
Okay, so we're gonna add a new line here where we say client underscore do.
You know this is coming straight from.
Okay, we're gonna so that this will also be slightly. adjust it in the next version. But we can basically copy that, and we're gonna define our own.
Redefine the interface. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oop. All right.
Cool. That sounds good. Perfect. So, and now, like, I think you just need to get rid of the import in the top.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. Perfect. So now, yes. Okay. And now say dot and see what's there.
Fetch.
Okay. Sweet. So now we need to say fetch, and for fetch, we need a so we need to like provide, if you command click on fetch, we need to basically give it a
Oops.
see yeah, a request info. So we basically now need to figure out like hold on, no, can you go back?
Yeah.
So on the client do, this is not quite right yet. We need to do here on the if you go up to the env,
To the interface
I
where
think
it's defined.
we're slightly fooling ourselves here. Durable object stub. No, okay, sorry. This should be okay. Go down again. And so say dot on the line above.
Here.
Okay, and I think we need to say, well, we what something is not quite right. We need to basically specify, hey, which durable object do we want to get?
Okay.
Let me quickly take a look, or maybe you want to take a look how it's done in the chat example.
Yeah, we could do that. Let's see.
So, yeah, if you go to CF worker and then worker TS. So this is basically what we're gonna do in like line 25. This is what we're gonna do. So just ID from name and then
it's in your shared directory.
yeah, let's just copy that and copy the env as well.
Yeah. Cool.
See, it's like that's the thing. We needed the durable object namespace, not the durable object stub, since the namespace gives us access to the stub.
Got it.
There's a little like Cloudflare-ism that you'll get familiar with, and then it's so here you can you can basically.
Do I need both of those?
You can basically just replace those with the actual class names.
Got it. Client DO. Big backend DO. Great. Okay, and then we have store ID from request. So now we come down here and we can get the store ID from request. That's not quite right. Let's see.
What does it complain about?
Let me grab this real quick and then let it fix it.
Okay, there is a yeah, this is an issue currently. You need to like cast it as any. That's also like the way how it's done in the or like that. There's currently a well-known issue in the Cloudflare TypeScript types. But yeah. So with that, if we're I think the same. If you also cast the env here as any, we're gonna fix that later, but just cast it as any, which we shouldn't do. But yeah. So if we're going up to our durable object, to our client do, we're running a little bit short on time, but it's the last thing we're gonna do. So say here is yes, perfect. Do that, and now we're just gonna return yes, perfect. All right. Let's see whether, and now we're gonna do another deploy and see whether this works. Probably forgot something, but worth trying.
Okay. And then we said it's slash, what was it? Hello?
Hello, I think. Okay,
Ah,
that's exciting. Um, let's.
did I get that right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It was slash
So,
hello.
well, now we gotta know like what has happened. Ideally, you can open your Cloudflare. Like we're gonna just open the logs basically.
Mhm.
The what we should do is like use the
Mhm.
local dev server where we're gonna get this directly. But now
Yeah.
we're
Good
already
point.
in so deep, so let's. so, so we're
Well, we
gonna
can just
embrace
start it
the.
up. We can just start it up locally, by the way.
Okay, let's do it. I wanted
Yeah.
to embrace the
PNPM
sunken cost
start, I believe.
fallacy. Uh,
Exactly. PNPM looks like it's dev.
dev
Yep,
is good. Yeah.
there we go.
Okay.
So now
Uh,
here I should be able to go to whoops, get it out of the way here and go to slash hello, and we should see
Okay,
the reason
store
why.
ID is required in URL search params. Okay, that makes sense because we have we yeah here that that makes a lot of sense, right? So if you
Yeah.
add in your URL in your search like add like
Mhm.
question mark store ID
Mhm.
equals your favorite
Yep.
store ID.
All right, here we go.
Frogger. Perfect.
Woohoo!
Alrighty. Hey, there you go. So I'm too keen that to now get it to work. If you copy paste the entire
Mhm.
client DO from the
Mhm.
example, and we're just gonna see whether we can like uh get this a little bit. There's no like bonus given we're already over time.
Yeah.
But let's just see whether we get
This is injury
get
time,
this
right?
running.
In a
So
soccer game.
if you
Yeah.
go
Let's see.
up
To
one,
our
there you go.
DO. There we go.
So if you copy
And
that entire file, that entire, you know what? Like it's
our
actually
bar.
might be easier if you do it as the entire file, and we create a new file.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Copy. And functions, new file, worker two.
Getting creative with your names. Um,
Absolutely. Now we're gonna have to
okay,
get
so
our
we're
shared
gonna.
data. That works.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna add this dependency. We need that. And we also need the new Cloudflare adapter dependency. So add those
These
two
are
dependencies to your package JSON.
okay. Oops, not that package, Jason. Package worker. All right. So we need, what do we need?
Add LiveStore adapter Cloudflare. Yeah.
Hmm.
And add LiveStore.
Why is LiveStore not already included? What is that?
That is that gives you the store, and you haven't needed that yet for the sync backend.
Got it. Um, yep, yep, yep.
Cool.
All right.
All right, go for it.
Wait, PMP install.
Install.
Oh,
It doesn't matter where you install. You can install.
hmm. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Something else is wrong. Let's see.
probably
What?
the package JSON. That seems red.
Yep, you're right.
You're
It does
absolutely
not like
right.
the
Comma.
catalog.
Forgot the comma.
Yes. Told you. It's the one character changes, I'm telling
Yeah, this is job safety right there. Um,
you. All right. Duplicated mapping key?
I think in the yeah in here you have LiveStore
Oh,
twice.
yeah, it was already in here. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, I was confused why it was giving me an error there. It was the comma.
Okay.
I thought I
Let's go
needed.
back
Okay.
to the worker two file.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta adjust a few things. So,
Mm-hmm.
like let's comment out the entire subscribe to store thing.
Okay.
So in line 24,
Mm-hmm.
we comment that out. In line, yeah, comment out this
Mm-hmm.
yes, comment out this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, just return like a empty. Yeah, great.
Mm-hmm.
Now go further down. Um, yeah, we so comment out the subscribe to store thing, the entire
Mm-hmm.
line 80. further down.
Hmm. The whole block.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. The live poll as well, comment outline 72.
Oh, you know what? I think I commented too far.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so let's see. It seems like that in one of the latest versions I've aligned the API slightly.
Hmm.
But shouldn't be too bad if you trigger the autocomplete, which, which
We've already been through this, Johannes. Why you keep asking me to do that?
yeah,
Durable
try
object
it.
ID. There it is. It's durable object ID. Was the is
Uh, yeah, there you're gonna have. Okay,
that
you're gonna do it arrow driven.
uh do a
Delete that. Delete
I
that
mean that?
line. That line. That no, no, the other way. Yes. Okay.
Here we go.
What else? What else does it want? Uh,
It does not like the ID to string. Does not exist.
okay. I
Story.
think we're gonna call it a day here. This is
Probably
I
so.
was hoping for smooth
Valiant.
sailing, but TypeScript is not having it. But essentially, you've already imported your schema,
Hmm.
and you should basically I'm sure you'll be able to wire this up shortly after this,
Hmm.
but you'll basically be able to have the thing talk to your sync backend, and then you have a synced LiveStore on your backend, and you can do things with it. And yeah, maybe we want to explore the Cloudflare workflow stuff the next time.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a great use of time, and no, it was fun to dig into this. I definitely see where this is going, where LiveStore plus Cloudflare becomes like a really powerful set of primitives that can solve some of these hard problems that you have to solve with distributed systems, which all
Yeah.
web apps are distributed systems.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm excited to kind of push some of those things down below the library layer and coast off of all the good work you're doing in LiveStore and that Cloudflare is doing on their infrastructure to kind of so that I can focus on the parts that matter most to me. So
Cool.
it's fun.
Yeah, that's been super fun. I'm looking forward to for the next round.
All right, same here.
Take care. Bye.